Alrighty, guys. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Onsite Inside podcast. I'm your host, Corey Tompkins, and today we have a guest that I've been wanting to get on for quite some time. We have Adam Hall from AH Fencing. Adam, I want to thank you for coming on, mate.
Not a problem, mate. Stoked to be here.
I know you've only just recently started to pump out the socials now, but mate, you have a very big story, and you're probably only just itching the surface from what you probably feel like at the moment. But from what I've seen, and for you guys that are listening anyway, I definitely would go out there and have a look what he's putting out at the moment because, it's very inspiring. And then, but I'm not going to do the talking for you, man. If you want to tell the listeners a little bit about you, how it all started, and then we'll get going with it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, that's an awesome intro. So, yeah, I'm one of the directors of AH Fencing. The other director, his name is Matt Carroll. He's my best mate. We've known each other since we were 5 years old, which, is usually a recipe for disaster with business partners, going into business with your best mate. But Matt and I have worked together since we were 18 years old, and we've known each other for so long, and it's always just worked. My strengths are his weaknesses and his strengths are my weaknesses, so it works really well. Mm-hmm. We started AH Fencing in 2018, and it was off the back of a business we were working for going under. Mm-hmm. And we sort of made the call at that point, like, are we going to keep working for someone else our whole lives, or are we going to give this a crack ourselves? Mm-hmm. Because we'd worked for a bunch of other fencing companies in the past, and we could just see things that were just not right.
And what were you doing when you were working there?
So we were installing on the tools. So we've never done anything in the office, which is the crazy part.
Okay, yeah.
And I guess to us, we thought, we know how to build fences. That means we know how to run a business. But it's like we were so far wrong, It's and we found that out pretty quickly when we started losing money hand over fist. So we decided to start the business, but we had no money. Like we had $3,000 in a bank account. We were provided company vehicles at the business we were at before, so we had no cars either. So we went out and we bought this old Ford Courier Ute for $3,000. And because we had no money, we couldn't just get stuck straight into commercial projects, which was our background. We were working for commercial fencing companies. So we thought, well, let's try and get some resi jobs. And we obviously started with friends and family and doing some work for them. Then we got onto the High Pages app. Yeah. And we were doing stuff on there, which is like, if anyone's used High Pages.
High Pages used to pump.
Yeah, it used to pump, yeah. And then it just became a bit of a race to the bottom on High Pages, and like any man and his dog was using it. Mm-hmm. But that's how we sort of got started, and like we were just doing small jobs for like $2,000 or $3,000 because that's all we could afford to pay our suppliers at the time, and just started building up from there. And I guess I don't think we always had dreams to become the size that we are today, but we definitely wanted to grow a sizable business, and we wanted to create a workplace that people enjoy coming to. That was always our number one goal, because we had never experienced that before. Every company we worked at, we were just a number, and we were treated like shit, to be honest. Yeah. We just wanted to create a workplace that people actually enjoyed coming to, and obviously it has to make money as well. Like there's no point in just having a fun workplace if it's losing money. Yeah. We sort of dove in head first and tried to win as much work as we could, and we were just saying yes to everything. So like any job that would come our way, even if it wasn't fencing, like
were you doing project stuff at that time, like just like in the resi space? Yeah, just you and him, just in the
resi space. It was just Matt and I for the first couple of months. Yeah, and then we brought on Josh, who was our first employee, and he's actually still with us today, which is really cool. Yeah. And we just started doing more and more work, and we had no idea how to run a business. Like I didn't know what a profit and loss was. I didn't know what margin was. We were just working at what the materials cost on a job, and then we were like, it'd be nice to make $500 a day, and adding that on. Yeah. And like it just doesn't work like that. Yeah. And so we started picking up more and more work, obviously because we were dirt cheap. And then not only were we losing money, but we weren't getting paid for the work either, because we weren't like vetting any of the people we were taking on board. We weren't really doing good quality work because we were hiring guys that we didn't really know. And every business issue you could ever think of, we were experiencing. To lose money having not started with any, where's that money coming from? Well, it's coming from the ATO, because we're just not paying our tax bill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so we racked up a pretty big tax debt pretty quickly as well. And so there was a year and a half of just like not knowing what we were doing, but always thinking the next month was going to be the month that we came back in, because we were living like so short term. It was like, oh no, we got some good jobs coming up next month. Like that'll be it. We've worked it out now. And I think we said that for like 4 years straight until we actually finally turned a corner. Yeah. And then we got approached by our accountant, and he said, like, you boys need help. I know a trade coach that can help you, a trade coach company. They're called Pro Trade United. And we signed up with them, and they sort of taught us the basics of business. So like the first lesson was like understanding your financials, like what's a profit and loss, what's a balance sheet, how to read them.
Yeah.
And then, moved on to coding and all that sort of stuff. And Matt and I, although we didn't know anything about business, we're very, very driven, and like we just applied ourselves, and we spent every waking minute trying to learn as much as we could about business. And we leaned on our coaches in Pro Trade, and we slowly started to turn the business around.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an overnight success. I think maybe year 3 is when, the Pro Trade coaches said to us, like, you need to identify who your ideal client is because you're taking on work left, right, and center. Like we were doing civil works if someone said to do it, because like we've got $100,000 contract for some civil works, which sounded awesome to us. Lost money, of course, because we don't know how to do civil works, and it's not our niche. And so once we really identified, all right, who's our ideal client, which for us is a commercial builder doing, tier 2 work.
Yeah.
Then we identified who that was and went after them like relentlessly and made the decision like, right, we're going to drop resi work and we're going to do commercial work solely.
So many things to unpack.
Yeah.
But talk to us a little about how at the start when you guys were sort of, just in that process with like, what was family like? Did you have a family to support at that time? Was it just you and him in a share house? Like what was that sort of looking like at that point in time when you guys were just hustling through that first year where it was just like loss? Well, you didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
You're just losing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were both 28 at the time.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like in and out of different relationships. So like we didn't have a family to support. Like we were kind of lucky that it happened in that time in our lives where we could really just like dedicate ourselves 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to this thing. And we had some like really shitty conversations. Like I've got so many saved text messages of like between Matt and I going like, how are we going to fucking pay the boys this week? Like how are we going to pay this supplier? We're going to have to call this supplier and say, hey, sorry, we can't pay you for 3 weeks. Yeah. Like it's just.
Makes you sick. Like
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to feel physically sick every Sunday night. We knew we had payroll the next day and it was like always a struggle. And we took out credit cards, like as many credit cards as we get in our personal loans, we took out to pay suppliers. And obviously we had this massive ATO debt racking up to the point where eventually, and we didn't know this, but the ATO can garnish your account where they can actually just withdraw money out of your account. So
crazy.
Yeah, we woke up one morning and the ATO had emptied our bank account. They took every dollar that was in there, which was like, a shock to us at the time. Now it sort of makes sense that they would do that.
And I think I've seen the other step where they'll find out who you're working for and they'll say to them, before you pay them, you pay us first.
Yeah.
So then it doesn't even get to your account.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they'll think that you're just going to get it out and run. So,
yeah. It's, oh man, like when I think back to those days, like I do feel sick. Like it was like.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm not going to go down that path yet because I think that's, that's really pushing it. But so during I guess through the start, like we're missing, because there would have been so many moments in time, like you guys would have sat there and gone, this isn't fucking it's not supposed to be like this. And let me just premise by saying to a lot of these guys that are listening, like I'm not saying for you guys to go out there and do that, but I do preach it a lot about, knowing the numbers. And you were just saying about your ideal client. When you guys were starting out, you didn't have the time to fucking know your numbers to a degree. You didn't have time. I bet you back then you would have gone, oh, who's my ideal client? You wouldn't have even known.
No.
You got to like go out there and you fucking grab it. But now you know, and obviously you get to pick those ideal clients. But I guess what was was there ever a line in the sand where you guys were like, listen, if we don't turn it around by the end of next month, we're fucking done, dude. Like I don't think
Matt and I ever thought about quitting. Like, like we never thought about really, really quitting. We thought about like, we were like, all right, next month, we had this conversation, like we're just going to have to sack all the boys, like, which is going to suck. And Matt and I are going to have to get on the tools and just grind it out, make 20 grand a year and just pay back all these debts. But like, we were never going to go down quitting, we were going to go down in flames or bankruptcy or something like that.
The ATO was going to put the lock on the door.
Yeah, literally. So that was, I guess, something that got us through is like, we were never going to quit.
Yeah. And how did you guys get to that? Because dude, I don't have a business partner or anything like that. I've got my wife. She probably is my biggest consultant. But I guess there's so many points in time, man, where I've sat on the edge of the bed, like in cold sweats, just fucking stressing, you know, how you're going to make this, the ATO's on your ass, like, et cetera, et cetera. And man, there's been like fucking heaps of moments in time where it's just like, nah, like, fuck, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Like the amount of stress I'm under, and but you just end up going through it. I guess for me, like my biggest thing was my old man. Like he taught me that. But it was, you know, for you guys, was there any sort of people around you that you seen, you know, because it's not normal, man. Like I was literally sitting here with Nick the other week, and we were joking, like most guys when they start a business, if you fucking had a hit of 50 grand in a year, you'd probably throw the fucking towel in.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like you see negative 50 in your account, or you have zero, and someone sent you a bill that you need to pay in 30 days and it's 50 grand. Like most people would be like, I'm fucking done, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's not for me.
That's probably the benefit of having a business partner, you know, is like Matt and I definitely wanted to quit. I shouldn't have said we didn't want to quit. We just wanted to quit at different times. So the other person was always there to talk us off the ledge, you know? So, you know, there was definitely times I said to Matt, like, fuck this, let's go back and work for someone else. Cause like we were making nothing. Like our wage was like less than 50K a year. And we were making 100K a year working for other people at the time. So like, where's the benefit to all of this?
You're paying yourselves 50K a year, but you're working like fucking 80 hours a week.
Yeah. It was like this dream of like, oh, we're going to run a business and it's going to look amazing. And it was just absolutely not that at all.
Yeah.
And like, I don't actually know if there's any real way, like you can definitely avoid getting to the levels that we were at. But like, you know, I think the first couple of years of business is always going to be a grind. Like you're establishing yourself in a new market, you're finding your key staff, like your core group of people, you're working out what is your product, what is your ideal client, what are you good at, you know? And so like, it's always going to be a grind. You're setting up new software, new systems, new processes. So like, I don't think it matters how much you know about business. Like those first years are always going to be so tough. And especially if you don't know anything about business, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah. Well, what was it? It was it was literally yesterday when I was sitting down with another business owner yesterday. We were talking about like the statistics of business and how they fail and stuff like that. And it's like 90% of them will fail within the first 12 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted. Like you got to have that tenacity because like it's going to be hard. Doesn't matter who you are. You can run 50 businesses before. It's still going to be hard. And I think honestly, like I think there's a bit of luck in it. You know, like I think we like learn just enough every week to just not go bankrupt. Like we were like on the cusp of going bankrupt every single week, and we somehow just scraped through. Yeah, and like. Thank God, like, because like now we're on the other side, and we've been on the other side for a few years now, where we've actually had some breathing room. But like, it was probably like the first 3 or 4 years that it was just like every week sucked, but I guess we always had this like delusional hope that like the next week or the next month was going to be when we turned it around, because we were always looking at what we were doing, how we were quoting, how we were getting paid, and always reevaluating and changing things and making things better. And we always thought, oh, this change is going to be what changes the business. Yeah. In reality, it was all the little changes over that entire time that's what changed the business. But yeah,
I guess the next thing that I want to step into is from residential to commercial, because I think a lot of guys hear that because we get a lot of guys that run smaller crews, right? They don't envision a run. They don't want to run 15 or fucking 20 crews or whatever. But this is a personal thing that I've found as well, is that we wanted to also, you know, it was over about 2 years ago, we pivoted and we were like, that's where we want to go. But we hit a wall, and it was like, you know, those tier 1, tier 2 sort of guys, or that commercial sort of style work, is you're not going to get it unless you've got the fucking foundation there. You know, you need the people in the seats, you need bums in the seats. They're not going to do a guy with a fucking ute and a trailer just going in.
Yeah.
So, you know, for us, it was about an 18-month fucking journey to do it. How did you guys, you know, I guess you obviously left residential because there was zero, you know, you couldn't really make much in it. And that's not saying that you can't make money in residential. You definitely can. I think it just comes down to the business and how you want to go. For us, we're finding it on our front, our sort of style, we're finding it harder and harder to make money in that market just because of how it is. But, you know, for you, what was your sort of, you know, what was the line in the sand moment where, because you did say that you went full commercial.
Yeah.
Were you guys just like, nah, fuck this? Like, did you have enough money in the bank to make that decision, or did you just make it anyway?
No, it was a transition period. Like, and it happened over about 18 months as well, where we made the call, all right, we know who our ideal client is, but we know we can't win all this work tomorrow. So we're going to have to keep doing resi
did you keep pricing through that period? Because that was another journey that no one fucking talks about, right? Yeah. In the commercial game, let me tell you, is you tender up for a whole year.
Yeah.
You got to go an estimator that's in that fucking seat that might be costing you $100,000 a year. You're paying him for a full year on tendering on jobs that you probably won't even fucking win anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a huge lead time.
Yeah.
Like the sales cycle for commercial is massive. Like, it's 12 months plus, you know, because you're tendering on a project that hasn't even been awarded to a builder yet. And then once they win it, then they've got to award it to, you know, the trades and then they've got to start on site. So it's a huge cycle, which we didn't really even understand that at the start, but we knew like we're going to have to commit a lot of time to tendering. And, you know, we got on different platforms like Estimate One and just started pricing. We picked select projects at the time because we just didn't have the capacity to price everything. But yeah, it was just a lot of late nights.
Was it a lot slower than what you thought?
Yeah, way slower than what we thought. Like, we didn't realize how long that period is from when a tender goes up on Estimate One as an example to when you're actually working on site. Like, it's such a long period of time. Like there are projects that happen pretty quick, but most of the time it's very, very long. And, you know, I can talk to more about that later because, you know, we went to the Melbourne market and sort of underestimated that again, where we like, we thought it was a lot quicker than it was again.
And that's something that I want to talk about is how you, shifting down that, because that's a whole nother, like that interests me as well, you know, stepping in and a lot of guys don't talk about it. A lot of guys just don't do it either. You know, there's not just the pricing, but it's licensing.
Yeah.
How does that look? You know, insurances, getting guys, fucking it, on and on and on.
I personally love commercial and it works for us as a business because I guess it's like the type of people that we are. Like it's very black and white. You know, whereas with residential space, you can make a lot of money, especially if you're doing high-end work. But
I think it's emotionally driven in residential.
Yeah.
And that's what I've found, and that's what I don't like about it, is it's very emotional driven. And, you know, we do probably a lot of the residential stuff that we do at the moment is probably still with like high-end build, like big builders, you know, when they're doing, you know, I don't know, 10 mil a year or 15 mil a year, whatever. But still the projects are very, you know, it's always very personal.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not, I'm not saying that, you know, what the work is shit or anything like that. It's just like when they're making decisions, they're making it out of the client or this, that, and the other. When you step into the commercial space, there's no personal thing about it, dude.
Yeah.
It's right or it's wrong. It's good or it's bad. The program is what it is or it's not, it's not. And that's it. You do the job, you get paid. Fucking see you later. You know, but you better make sure you do it on time and you do a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, the stakes are a bit higher.
Yeah, but in the resi space, you sort of have to do that on top of the personal stuff. You know, if you don't speak to them the right way, if you don't do this, they get butt hurt. And it's
100%. And like we wanted to build a scalable business, and obviously working in a sector of the industry that is more black and white, you know, gives you the ability to create a more scalable business. You know, it's hard to create a scalable business doing high-end residential. And like I've definitely seen people do it, but it is such a personalized experience. Like, you know, you look at a lot of the really good high-end residential builders and like they're building one house at a time or two houses at a time where like the owner can really be there and connect with the owner of the property and like it's a personalized experience. To build something at scale in the residential space, you know, I think you can do it. And people have done it. But
some select few have done it.
Yeah. And you can definitely do it on the lower end of the market, like if you're looking to do like dirt cheap things, but then that's not very inspiring to us as well. Like we want to do projects that, you know, are inspiring to build.
Yeah.
And the commercial space provides that too, because they're doing like epic projects at Movie World or Greyhound tracks or whatever. Like it's fun.
I want to talk about the scalability because a lot of guys get scared about scalability or they don't really know what it is. Like I'm a strong believer in it. I like scaling. I think it's a very sexy thing to do. It's fun. It's, you know, it's exciting. You know, it's risky and that's all thing. But I think you're right. You hit the nail on the head about like this, there's only certain markets where you can scale. A lot of guys don't want to. But for you guys, what was the moment in time where you were like, you know, we want to scale? Because you probably could have stayed at like 10 guys just servicing Brisbane. But what was the like, what were you like, nah, like we need 50 or we now want to go to this? Like, was it a service thing? Was it just the type of jobs that you were doing that was screaming that they just needed more work, or was it the opportunities in front of you, or, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Matt and I are really driven people and we always like having a new goal to move towards. So revenue's a pretty easy goal to keep moving forward. There was also like times at the start of the business where our mindset was we need to do more work to turn this business around. So we were kind of scaling to get ourselves out of the shit, which also doesn't work because we were getting ourselves further in the shit. And, you know, like building a scalable business is building one that can run without you being there. And, you know, that's what we wanted as well. We wanted to be able to go on a holiday at one point in our life. And so to do that, you've got to build systems and processes and have the business be able to run without you being there. And in doing that, you're creating a scalable business. So, and then, yeah, as I said, Matt and I are just really driven people. So we've got some massive goals. And as I said at the start, like our goal was to create a workplace that people enjoy coming to. And that's sort of our vision now, is we want to bring as many people on that journey as we can. And so that's why we're growing. You know, we want as many people in the construction industry to enjoy coming to work. And that doesn't mean just giving people everything and laying down flat.
No, you still got expectations and you still got things that people need to do. You know, we could talk about employees and HR because that's a whole nother thing as well. You know?
People are a huge thing.
Massive. And they make or break you, you know, efficiency and how you manage that when you got 100 staff, or, you know, there's all those things that come into it. But when you were, you know, the thing that I found with the scaling aspect is I never really seen ourselves, like for us, we're a lot smaller than what you guys are. But in our space, I would say we're probably medium sized for what we offer in the market. And, you know, running at about 25 staff, it was never a company. It was never something that I shot for. It was never a numbers thing. But when we ran it down, same with coaching and with actually knowing your numbers, you actually need that amount of guys to fucking service that work. Not because you're driving a Lamborghini or you're living in a fucking nice house, but to have an estimator sitting there that's costing you $100,000 a year when you're only making a 13 or a 14% net. Times it, you know what I mean? That's how much revenue you need to do. So you need to do an extra 1.5. Just to afford. Oh, mate.
There's a minimum amount of overhead you're going to have to operate in the commercial space, and then therefore your break-even point's going to be a lot higher. So you need the guys.
But that to me was something that I never knew. When I was in resi, when I was just doing bathrooms and fucking decks and pergolas and this, that, and the other, I never knew that. I always knew that I wanted to get out of this shit and do bigger jobs and bigger this and that. But then when I started to knock on the doors, they didn't even fucking look, dude. You know, they're like, "Who's this guy? I don't know who you are. Where's your capability statement?"
Dude, we literally knocked on doors. Like we literally cold knocked on builders' doors.
I've done some, Nick knows all about it, dude.
Man, it's so awkward.
I have done some wheeling and dealing in my time to get in the contacts. You know, you're talking lunch after lunch and fucking tickets after tickets.
Find out where the builder that gave us our first commercial project was ICM Constructions, which was just in the next street over. I accidentally drove down the wrong street. We did a U and I was like, oh, that's them. So it's funny. It's a small world talking about it now and driving past them.
And how did you get them?
I walked into the office with business cards and I was like, hey, we're looking for work. We're trying to get into commercial space. This is what we do. And no one was there. It was just the receptionist greeted me at the time. And then like 2 weeks later, the director, one of the directors called me and was like, oh, hey, do you want to build a fence at my house? Which, you know, we didn't want to do, but we were like, oh, it's the director of a commercial company, we'll do it. And we did a good job. And then he was like, all right, sweet, I'll give you a commercial project now because you helped me out there. So wheeling and dealing. Like you got to do what you got to do to get in that space.
When you eventually, so we talked about the transition from resi to commercial, but I think a lot of the listeners are probably thinking that once you get into commercial, you're making a ton of money. And that's not the case. I think that's also a misconception, is that a lot of guys think that if you're doing commercial sort of work, that schools and pubs and clubs and fucking stadiums and this, that, and the other, that you're just raking it in. I don't think that's the case. I think, you know, the quantity and the room for margin is obviously, you know, you can do a lot more and you can obviously add your price in there. But I've seen a lot of guys do their ass in as well, because as you just said, yes, it is very black and white. So if you get fucked, you're getting fucked all the way. You know, you are going to cop LDs and all this other stuff that they all talk about. Where in the resi space, you might not get that, you know, it might be a little bit more easier. But for you guys, have you had any sort of, you know, bad experiences in that space when you first stepped into it, going from residential to commercial? Because for me, it was very much like, I think I got my first commercial deal and it was just like, sign the contract, dude, bang, signed it.
Man.
Didn't look at nothing. It was 100%. Just like, bang, like, fucking Same. All good. And then towards the end of the job, the guy was like, oh, it's $3,200 in LDs per day. And I was like, okay, fuck. And then it was, so like now it's obviously we get to a point now where we don't just sign a contract. We actually go through it properly, read the fucking terms and, you know, cross out anything that's not applicable. But was that a journey also because you guys probably were no fucking whiz in contracts either.
No, 100%.
You know?
We just
do you still do them now? Do you have someone that looks after them now, or how do you guys do it now?
Yeah. I mean, as you said, like we never read a contract. We just saw the figure on it. And we're like, yeah, sweet, done, signed. And, you know, I think it was until we actually got whacked with a contract one day, you know, a builder actually started using the contract against us was when we were like, oh, okay, we actually better start reading these things because they are using them.
45 days, end of month. You're like, fuck, how am I going to float? That's another thing we'll talk about in a minute. But fuck.
Yeah. So contracts is a huge thing. And now we've got a bit of a process. Like there's some standard clauses we look for, and we've got our standard set of departures that we add into contracts. So that our sales team or estimating team know that when they get a contract, they review it and go through that part. And so we kind of know now once a contract's getting handed over to a project manager, it's pretty squeaky clean, and it's got what we want in there. Otherwise, we'll just say no to the work. So yeah, but we never used to read contracts, and I think like, you know, going into the commercial space, you can make more money for sure, but as you said, the stakes are higher. You know, there's contracts they can hit you with, LDs, and the risk of a builder going broke and not paying you is also arguably higher. You know, it's happening a lot, and I know a lot of guys are fearful of that. A lot of guys say like, oh, you know, I'll never work for a builder because, you know, they never pay you. And we've had some pretty shitty experiences. Like we've probably lost about 200 grand over the years of builders going broke and not paying us, which hurts. But you know, if I want to take full ownership of my life, there's definitely things we could have done to avoid.
And I think you learn over time. Like we've sort of got a bit of a gut check for it too. Like Kelly, he sort of knows it too. Like when we're going out there and we're getting new builders on board, you can usually vet check them now a little bit more. You know, how long have they been around? What is the style of work that they're doing? And
we've got trade credit insurance now. And trade credit insurance, the insurer will basically, you'll apply for a level of cover on a builder. Say like, you know, you get a 200 grand contract, you apply for 200 grand of cover, and they'll do an audit of the builder's financials. And if they say, yep, you're all good, then that means if that builder does go broke, insurance will pay you out 90% of the invoice.
And if they come back and say no?
Yeah, then we won't work for them.
Okay. And does the builder have to agree? Like, is it like a police check? You got to like...
Yeah, the builder has to send them some brief financial statements.
Yeah.
Which a lot of the big builders have already done. So like a lot of the time we apply for cover and get approved straight away on these big builders.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't, the sort of pitch we give them is like, look, if we're not going to be the only contractor that's asking for trade credit insurance, and if you're denying it, it doesn't look good. And if word gets around site that you're not happy to provide financial statements, then people are probably going to start walking off site. And it's not like a threat or anything like that, but it's just more like it's in everyone's best interest to do it. Like if you want the best subbies to work on your site, they're going to have trade credit insurance, and they want to know that your financials are good too. And if you're not happy to provide your financials to the insurer, then that's a bit of a red flag as well.
So you just don't do it. Now, if it's part of your process that if they just deny you, then even if you're at contract stage, ready to go, or do you do it pre?
Yeah, pre-signing of the contract, we'll do it.
But you don't do it pre-tendering.
Nah, not pre-tender.
So if a new builder approaches you with a large job that might chew an estimator up for a full week, you don't.
I mean, I think we're lucky in the fencing space. No tenders are that detailed for us, and we've built some pretty awesome systems and processes that we can really pump them out. But that is a good point. Like maybe we should be doing that.
Yeah, no, because it just had me like, for us, it gets a little bit complex, like on the tendering side.
Yeah,
because you got all these different types of scopes and things. It might be a little bit different, but yeah, definitely something that we would think about doing. Because dude, we can. You chew up an estimator for 3-4 days on a tender. You send it in, and if they get back and they're like, oh nah, we're not covering you, they won't put us. And then you're like, fuck, it puts you in that sticky point to be like, fuck, you got the contract sitting there.
Yeah.
And then us being us, looking at the dollar figure, going, fuck, like.
Yeah, and the insurers are really good. Like they get back to you super quick. So like you could ask them because they don't want to have to pay out any money, right? So like they want to work with you in their
best interest
to make sure that you're not working with builders that are going to go under. And so we've never had to make a claim with that insurance since we've got it. And part of the reason is they actually notify you of builders defaulting on invoices.
Yeah.
So, our insurer insures a bunch of other tradies as well. And if they hear that Hutchies isn't paying this tradie, they'll let everyone know, hey, Hutchies isn't paying their bills. Just beware. And then the insurer might go to the point where they say, hey, look, I know we've insured you for 200 grand. We're going to cut it down to 100 grand as of next week. Yeah. So it's up to you if you want to keep working them after that. So they sort of give you like plenty of warning when a builder's going under. And they've saved us a few times. Like we've been in the middle of contracts for builders. They've let us know that their financials look bad. And then we've sort of just come up with excuses to not work. on site. Okay. And then those builders have gone under. So it's happened 3 times now.
Yeah.
So it does cost like a bit of money, but man, it helps me sleep at night. Yeah, but it's like
if you're losing 200 grand, is it really costing?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
All right, guys, congratulations. You're halfway through this episode. I hope you guys are really enjoying it. But first, I just want to make a special thank you to Ideal Group Australia. Without them, I wouldn't be able to bring this podcast to you. So special thank you. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Buckle in and get ready to listen to the end of this episode.
Fucking we've been burnt, like not that much, but we definitely have been burnt. You know, I'm not naming names, but yeah, there's been builders that have gone, and we will see it as the years go on, because at the moment, from what I'm seeing on the ground anyway in Brisbane, it's ridiculously busy, man. Like we're plans after plans after plans after plans. Like every week we're probably getting pumped. Yeah. New job this, new job that. And what's happening now on the builder and developer front is that contracts are just getting signed, council's just approving, but no one's there to build these things. So builders have got a timeline or an estimated timeline of a project that's blowing out double that they have to cover. They have to cover the cost because they want to do it.
Yeah.
Fuck, they're just, they're seeing all these plans and all the clients want the builds done. So they're fucking thinking, yeah, this is going to be mad. But it was only like a couple of weeks ago that I was having a meeting with a builder and I was like, dude, where are you going to get these guys? There's not enough tradies in Brisbane. You're literally not going to get them.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, we will. I'm like, you're not, man. You're not.
I mean, they can get people to sign contracts, but getting people to show up to site and actually doing the work is another thing.
Then, it's becoming more and more frequent that if a builder just pisses off, a certain contractor, they'll just leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll just leave and go to another fucking job.
It's a contractor's market at the moment, which is nice to be that way.
Yeah. And it's probably going to be like that for quite a while, because I think we're behind the 8 ball so far with what needs to be built, what needs to be done.
Yeah, and the Olympics.
That's a fucking, that's another, but that just trickles down.
Yeah.
The amount of times that I put up content about what I think that's going to do with the labour force in Brisbane is dramatic. I feel like there's going to be a lot of guys that leave residential work and then move their way into commercial just because of that opportunity that's there.
Yeah.
And then, where does that leave all the builders to get these fucking houses built?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to drive building costs through the roof because, blue-collar workers, guys on site, are going to have to get paid more than ever.
Yeah, exactly.
And man, like I could talk about this for fucking ages, but like it's obviously an industry-wide problem and you spoke about it and you actually made me think about it for the first time that, a lot of guys, finish their trade or whatever, hop on the tools and their first thought is, sweet, how do I get off the tools?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get into the office?
Yeah.
And like, there's no incentive or guys don't see value in being on the tools anymore.
Yeah.
And like, man, we got to change it as an industry. And like, we're trying to think up strategies within AH fencing of, the analogy that I use is like, all NRL players, footy players, they all want to be on the field playing. They don't want to be up at the coach's box. So how do we create that sense of like glory for the boys on the tools where they're like, no, I want to be on the tools because that's where all the glory and the passion is and that's where you get shit done. Like, fuck being up in the coach's box, that's boring. Yeah. So we want to try and recreate that at our company somehow. But even as an industry, we need to start doing that.
It has to look glamorous. Because, it's like anything. Money talks and
it does.
It's just, that's what I see. It's like when the guy, because I'll be honest, and I've spoken to guys about this, when you get a cadet, you would know. If you get an estimator, guy that's off the tools, and he's a cadet, 9 times out of 10, he's getting paid fucking way less than what a tradesman on site would be.
Yeah.
So my argument to the guys on site is you're usually better financially to stay on site.
Yeah.
You're going to get better money, better hours. Yes, taking a toll on your body. But we obviously try to do the culture thing and, give them incentives, like you finish early on a Friday, obviously better jobs, better projects, more interest in that, but you can only do so much, know?
Yeah.
So it is hard, man. But what the hardest thing that I find is not just the qualified guys, but it's the guys, we don't have enough guys getting into the trade.
Yeah. Dude, but like, listen to what we're talking about. Like, there's more tradies than ever leaving the industry and there's less than ever coming into it. We still need to build things. Yeah. Like, imagine the amount of money you're going to be able to earn on the tools in like 5-10 years time. It's going to be insane. Like, if you want to make good money, learn a trade and stay on the tools and be driven to stay on the tools because that's how you're going to make a shitload of money soon.
Yeah. You can have all the site managers and everything under the world, but there still needs to be the boys actually doing these jobs. Like, And I think that it's a flow-on effect. The guys on site, and like I see it you would see it as well. You know, guys on site, usually every performance review or every sort of sit down, it's always like, oh, you know, struggling in, a little bit more money, you know, da. So you give them a little bit more. Then your price then goes up a little bit more. Yeah. And the builder then has to go up a little bit more. And it's happening more drastically now. You know, every like 3 months, man, it's like, you know, a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. So it's crazy. And I seen something, I read an article or something the other day. It was like in March 2026 is when it will peak, when it'll be the most amount of work that'll be in the market, and there'll be the least amount of actual guys being able to do it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's absolutely nuts, man. But anyway, moving on from that, I want to talk to you about how you, because I think what's inspiring for me, I know it doesn't probably contextualize to a lot of the listeners, but for myself, what interests me is how you transition into Melbourne.
Yeah.
Because that's a massive move. That's massive. And something that inspires me to be like, you know, because I think you do hit a glass ceiling in a capital city.
Yeah.
You know, do you really want to have 150 fucking guys in one city, you know, doing X amount? I guess, like, for me, that's not, I don't think you know, there's only so much.
Yeah.
So why Melbourne, number one? And number two, you know, how did you guys start that off?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, as you said, you do hit a glass ceiling, figuratively. Obviously, like we felt like in Brisbane we reached a cap with our revenue, where we weren't going to, you know, keep increasing our revenue without dropping our margins, and that's not something we wanted to do. So
and was that just because of the style of work?
Yeah, and you know, we do, our niche is like projects between 50 and 500K.
Yeah,
and we do win the odd $1 million project here and there. But typically it's 50 to 500K. But those $1 million projects, you got to drop your margin to do.
Yeah.
And we didn't really want to drop our margins to just keep chasing more work.
Yeah.
So we thought, how do we increase our revenue without dropping our margins? And that's expand geographically. And then the two next biggest markets is Sydney and Melbourne. And the advice we got given is like, which city do you enjoy going to more? Because you're going to be going there a lot. And that's Melbourne. We love the culture there. You know, we love the restaurants and the food and everything. Yeah. So that's why we chose Melbourne. And we made the call to expand to Melbourne. It's like, it seems crazy now when I look back at like where we were as a company at the time.
It's so fucking crazy, dude. Like, to be like, oh, you know, we're going to expand in Melbourne. Like, did you have family down there? Was it any sort of connection to Melbourne? Was it just we do literally just like going there?
Yeah. It was just literally like we just wanted to keep growing. And like, it was always like a little bit of a pipe dream for Matt and I to like be in multiple states. Like, because that's like ultimate, you've got a scalable business model. If you can operate in two different geographic locations.
We got an office in Melbourne and an office in Brisbane.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And, and at that point, we actually did have a really good model going in Brisbane at the revenue we were at. We were at about 5 mil. Yeah. And things are just like flowing really, really well. Like we got it down to clockwork. Yeah. We were making good money.
Executing.
Yeah. Boys are happy.
Yeah.
And we were like, and honestly, like Matt and I got to the point where we were working half days every day and like
everything was just running.
Yeah.
As it should, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
And then we made the call to go to Melbourne and, you know, like we just hypothesized about a lot of things. We rang a lot of builders in Brisbane that we know they've got branches in Melbourne and just
in
asked
that
for their
space, in that tier 2 sort of space. If they don't, they usually know of people that do.
Yeah. And we got a lot of advice and a lot of it was like kind of fear mongering, to be honest. There were a lot of talk about the unions and that everyone in Melbourne gets paid more. Unions are everywhere. And, you know, you're going to be fucked if you go down there. And we did it anyway. Yeah. And the unions are everywhere, but they're not on the projects that we're working on. You can choose to work on a unionized project or not. So we just opt not to do that. And one of our best guys in Brisbane, we were like, man, we would love him to run Melbourne. What are we going to offer him? And we came up with an offer. And before we could make him an offer, he came to us and said, hey, I know you're expanding to Melbourne. If there's any opportunity for me to move there, I'd love to do that. And we were like, yeah, this is perfect. And we gave him that offer anyway because we were like, we think you deserve this to go down there. And he went down there and he took one of our other site managers down there too. And so that was our first 2 guys on the ground. So we actually had guys on the ground we could trust. And I reckon that's probably the biggest X factor is like having that construction manager down there that we knew we could trust and would like bring our culture down there was huge. But in doing that, Brisbane suffered quite a bit because we lost 2 of our best guys.
Yeah.
And those 2 guys were off the tools. So then we had what we opted to do at the time was to bring our next 2 best guys on the tools off the tools.
And so then all of a sudden, a knock-on effect.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden we had a lot of junior guys running jobs and Brisbane really suffered.
Yeah.
which, you know, yeah, in hindsight wasn't the best idea.
But you work it out. And I think, you know, we go through the same thing. Every time that we start up a new team, it's the same sort of principle, you know. You have two guys that might work together that are fucking fantastic. And you think, fuck, these two boys are great. Then you split them.
Yeah.
And you go, you're going to run a separate team now. Then you split them. And then, it's just, you go through it, man. It's just, it's fucking part of it. But I guess we're missing so much of the logistics side of it because, fuck, it's like, it sounds good to me, but like, were you pricing stuff up here? Because the pricing cycle was still fucking ages.
Which we didn't really realize that.
Yeah.
So like in that 5-year period, so we expanded Melbourne 2 years ago. So we're 5 years into business. We had created shitloads of systems and processes, and that's how we had everything running like clockwork. So our estimating process was like spot on. We can bang them out really quick.
Yeah.
And we kind of thought the conversion cycle was like quicker than it was. So we said, all right, we're going to tender projects on estimate 1 for 6 months before we go down. And we're going to start in January. We're going to get down there in July.
Yep.
And then we started tendering projects, and then we won a project in April. So a builder reached out to us and said, hey, I see you're tendering our work. We've actually got one on right now. Do you want to do it? And we were like,
got no guys.
Yeah, we got no guys.
We're
sweet. Yeah. But with them, the two boys that we had lined up to move down, we were like, hey, you guys ready to go sooner? And they were like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, fuck.
And so then we moved down, and then we went down to Melbourne, and we door knocked on 100 builders' doors and just introduce ourselves, said what we're about.
Yeah. And you had the experience already there from Brisbane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, it was like a bit of a warmer introduction because we were like, hey, we've already been tendering for you for a few months.
Yeah.
And so they were more willing to chat to us.
Yeah.
And then through those door knocking, we probably won work for like 3 months down there, which was really awesome because it was like all of
no
the live.
Office? No, like.
No office. So, just like working out of Ben's house down there. And he was just storing stuff in his garage.
Yeah,
so like still pretty like
it's a humbling experience to be like, fuck yeah, we're on about the clock, boys. Yeah.
And like Ben, you know, Ben was the construction manager in Brisbane. He went down there. We finally got it humming in Brisbane. Like we had an office, we had utes, we had all this stuff. And then he opted to leave all of that and go start again from scratch, which was like, you know, awesome of him to do. And yeah, we door knocked. We got all this work in the pipeline for 3 months. And we were like, sweet, we're off running. And then once we got through all that work, none of these tenders had come through yet. So we all of a sudden had nothing. So like there was a good 3-month period where we had no work in Melbourne at all. And we didn't want to lose our Melbourne boys because we spent like 3 months training them up and employing.
So what? He went down there. You guys won this job. Then did you just automatically just bring on guys, like just random guys from fucking Melbourne that you didn't really know?
We started hiring chippies because we were like, we know they're going to be able to do work. You know, so
yeah.
And Ben was like pretty closely monitoring them, and then we didn't want to lose them. Yeah. And we had some regional work we were doing in Queensland where we had to do FIFO anyway. So we just started flying the guys from Melbourne there instead.
Yeah.
And that sort of bridged the gap. But it was pretty slow going for Melbourne for that first year because we didn't realize that the sales cycle was so long with the tendering. So now we're expanding to Sydney.
Now you know.
And we're starting, 12 months in advance tendering before we go down there. So by the time we actually go down there, we'll have a good pipeline of the work.
So what does Melbourne look like now?
So Melbourne now has got the same work in the pipeline as Brizzy.
Yeah.
So Brizzy's got 4 mil. Melbourne's got 4 mil in the pipeline ahead of us.
Yeah.
That work hasn't like started yet for Melbourne. So their workforce is still a bit smaller, but they're in the process of hiring now. So basically Brisbane and Melbourne are the same size and Melbourne's only been around for 2 years. So pretty awesome. And Melbourne is a massive market. Like even though Brisbane's booming, it's booming for Brisbane. And Melbourne's still busier. Sydney's still busier. So it's
I love Melbourne. I've been down there like fucking heaps and I love it.
It's awesome.
It is good.
It's a great reason to visit there every month.
It is good. And every time I go down there, man, there's just endless amounts of construction going on, just shit being built left, right and center. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, that would definitely be something. But I guess, was there any sort of other hurdles that you had to cross in order to do that? Like a licensing thing, an insurance thing, was all these things that you had to fucking knock on the head before you actually pulled that?
Yeah, there's so much logistics that you got to do. Like, as you said, insurances, like software, visiting suppliers, setting up credit accounts, like all sorts of stuff that like comes with it, which I guess we kind of knew, but we underestimated it, like how much there is to do.
And do you literally run it like
it's a separate company.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But it's not run like a separate company. Like legally it's set up, it's a different entity. But Brisbane's HQ, so all of the accounts, all of the admin is done out of Brisbane.
Yeah.
For a period of time, all the estimating was still being done out of Brisbane.
Yeah.
Now we've got estimators in Melbourne as well because like they know the local market and they can drive to site and visit people.
Yeah, see, that was something that when you said it, when I seen it on socials, I was like thinking about it, I was like, So fuck, like that's essentially what I was thinking. Like you could run the estimation up here, but then you lose that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff up here, like the suburb, where it's going to be. A lot of the times you might see some stuff, or you can just fucking go and drive there.
Yeah.
But all the weather as well, you know?
Yeah.
But up here, you don't, like you're sort of out of touch a little bit.
Yeah.
You can Google Maps it, fucking try to see where it is. But
so we still do all the tendering out of Brisbane. So when the project's out of tendering phase, the builder hasn't been awarded yet. It's a bit of a high level number. We don't have to be super accurate around it. A builder just wants a pretty accurate price to submit with their tender. And so all of that's done out of Brisbane from our junior estimators. But then once a project goes live for a builder and they're looking to award someone, that's when it would go to the local salespeople so they can actually go and shake a hand on site and do a deal. It's
that's good. That's good.
And man, I got to say, like, Melbourne has been such a cool market to be a part of. Like, and it's partly because of the weather. And everyone says, oh, Melbourne's got 4 seasons in a day. If you look at the rain statistics in Brisbane to Melbourne.
Dude, this is what I fucking said as well. Every time I go down there, usually the weather's on point.
I know, it is.
And then I always go down there and I always say to the people that they're the guys that are down there, I'm like, dude, are you guys fucking lying to us all the time?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, no, it's 4 seasons a day. It's always fucking raining down here. It's always cold. I'm like, every time I have been here, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's definitely cold.
Yeah.
But like Brisbane, the work stops. Like it rains so much in Brisbane. Like we've had 10 times as much rain this year in Brisbane than they've had in Melbourne. And it was the same last year.
Ridiculous.
In the first 3 months this year, Brisbane had 60 rain days out of 90 days. And last year it was 58 rain days out of 90. I'm tracking all this shit because like
well, you need to know you guys are doing outside work.
Yeah. And Melbourne outperforms Brisbane for labour efficiency, and I've been trying to work out why. That's one of the reasons why. And then I looked at the rainfall in all the major cities in Australia. The only major city in Australia that's got more rainfall than Brisbane is Darwin. So turns out Brisbane's one of the hardest city to do. Yeah, it's a different market. We'll go there last.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I guess, dude, kudos to you guys for doing that. But have you found there's so many other questions that I got about that because we're missing. No, like simple things like culture. Obviously, you said you had your 2 guys go down there, but when you get from 2 to 20, there's a massive gap. You can only have those 2 guys can only do so much.
Yeah, and our culture wasn't aligned.
Yeah.
Like the culture in Brisbane was different to the culture in Melbourne.
Yeah,
and
and how did you go about aligning that? What were some of the things that you had to go through and be like, fuck, like we don't want to lose the rain here.
I mean, like everyone's heard about core values, right? And like I had heard about them and we had them because like I heard that's what you do, but they didn't really mean a whole lot, you know, like, and that was when we realized the cultures are so different in Brisbane and Melbourne. That's when we were like, no, we need to revamp our core values. Like, what do we really believe in? What really are our values? And get everyone aligned from the top down. And, our core values now are our guiding principles, and that's what everyone works off. So we bring up our core values every single month at our monthly meeting, and every single time we do a performance review, we tell them where they're aligning on each of the core values. If they need to be brought in for a verbal warning or something like that, it's where did you fall short on your – we give a Chasing Perfection award every month, and that's based on our core values. So it's just like constant touch points about our core values. And the main thing is
and you think that has been one of the biggest factors for you to drive that through?
Yeah, massive.
Yeah.
It's values and it's standards, having the same standards. Everyone can't show up late. They've got to show up in a nice clean uniform, tidy ute, batteries charged, that sort of stuff. It's the little things that add up, and that's what creates your culture.
Yeah.
But the big one is definitely having your values aligned. And, the thing that takes your values from being words on a wall to being real is that your leaders are actually embodying them. Like it's one thing to tell your boys to own it or to lead from the front on site. But if you're not doing that as a leader yourself, if you're showing up late and you're not organized, then like why would the boys do it?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everything you've got up on the wall there, your core values, your mantra, it all goes out the window. It's all just bullshit. Yeah. So like it's so important your leadership team is embodying it because otherwise it'll never go anywhere.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's crazy. Like there's so many things to unpack. But I guess my final thing that I want to ask is, what would it be if you had, I don't know, 2 things to give someone else that's looking to scale, or, we had a guy in here, I forgot his name. He runs a waterproofing company. And he had this, he's saying, like, fucking just starts out similar story, dude. Same as us, just, him and a mate. Fucking then it went to 4 guys, and he's similar thing, dude. He's sitting there and he's got the finance. He's like, every time he hears scale, he's just like scared because it's money, money,
Yeah.
what advice would you give those guys in those positions where they want to do it, but it's just holding them back a little bit, you know?
Yeah. I think like the first piece of advice is know your numbers and, you know, not just your financials. You do have to know them, but you've got to have KPIs set in the business, and that's what allows you to scale. So knowing how many leads do I have to get in the door every month to convert to that many quotes, to convert to that many jobs, or how many, what's our overdue invoice days? Like all these KPIs that cause you stress at night, create some systems and processes around them to avoid them. So that's the biggest thing I'd say is knowing your numbers, both financial and your KPIs. And the next biggest thing is, you know, getting the right people in the right seats and leading them, and like true leadership, not management. Working out how to support and guide people and not micromanage them.
Yeah, because that's a fucking... Yeah.
You're never going to scale without a lot of people, and you're never going to get a lot of people wanting to follow your journey and your vision if you're managing them all. You've really got to lead them. And like, I'm still on that journey of learning what true leadership looks like.
Yeah.
I'm reading books every bloody day about it, and it's like super uncomfortable for me because a lot of it's like letting go of control and allowing people to make small mistakes and letting them do things their way and not necessarily your way, and just being there in the background providing support and guidance. Super uncomfortable for me to do.
You're giving him support and guidance on something that you don't even think that, you're like, fuck, you're doing it wrong anyway. But
yeah, exactly.
I'm supporting you for doing it wrong. Yeah.
So like that's the two things, is like know your numbers and learn what true leadership is, because that's how you're going to get the people to follow you on that journey.
That's good, man. There's so many things. Where are we at? Oh, fuck.
I could talk forever, man.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I got so many questions for you, but fuck, my brain is just running. My brain is running. But nah, dude, I'm going to wrap it up there. And I think what we need to do is do a part 2 again. You know, I think you said you're doing Sydney. I don't know if you want to say to people
we're expanding to Sydney in 1 year's time.
I've seen something on your socials. You're already doing it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's already set in stone. You're probably already pricing stuff in Sydney.
Yeah, man.
Already. Yeah. So that's exciting, man. But we will run it back. But I want to thank you for coming on. It's been very good, man. So thank you very much.
Thanks, bro.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this week's episode. If something hit home for you, it would mean the absolute world to us if you could like and share this podcast with someone else that would benefit from it. Tune in to next week's episode, as this will be one that you don't want to miss.